Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to me. And we are here with Christina Castañeda. I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Christina, for accepting me this interview. She's a woman that I admire very much for everything that she have done. And also, I would like to learn more about you today. I always like a natural conversation. The podcast that I create specific is for all entrepreneurs, designers, musicians, artisans that are in the creative niche or sports also, because sports helps for creativity. And we would like to know, what do you think it develops your creativity for doing your writing? You have your creative savvy website, you have your podcast, you have done so many things, but I let you to share with us everything.
Everything. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. But I started everything because I wanted to first and foremost be a writer, and I had books that I wrote. I had fiction books that I wrote, and I just realized I had a lot of other talents and interests that could help other people. But writing is what helped me build the skill, because when you write, you have to show up every day. You have to, slowly unravel a story. You have to understand human behavior, which helps a lot, good and bad points of human behavior. And that helps you, it helps you later connect with people. It helps you later kind of tell good brand stories, which you need to tell when you're doing marketing, when you're doing any kind of product awareness, things like that. So I realized I had all these skills, but I had no way to make money for them. I was just working tirelessly in a career that I hated. Well, not necessarily hated, like those careers, they teach you a lot, and they connect you with a lot of people. But I wasn't doing anything I was passionate about, and I just couldn't get things off the ground, and I couldn't find something that was just making me creatively fulfilled. So what I did was I said, okay, I want to create a space for writers, especially independent writers like me, who are in the trenches, who are doing everything on their own, who are combining writing with entrepreneurship. And I want to create this podcast for them. So that's how the Savvy Creative podcast started. I really loved it. And I had not just writers, but I had anyone I could find. And I think that's what you do when you first start podcasting. Like, you just grab anyone you can find who will be a guest, because everybody's kind of just like, what? No, I don't want to show. I don't have anything to say. Why do you want to interview me? And that was really hard when I first started, because I started back in 2018. And the more I interviewed writers, the more I realized like what I wanted to offer them and how I wanted to help them. And I had my own books that I just could not get off the ground. Like, I would send them through multiple editors. I would change the story constantly. And I was having so much trouble throughout that creative process, really finding out who I was, like what I authentically wanted to do. And then I just continued, working my business, doing the podcast, and my business was still just online courses and one-on-one consulting at that point. So it still kind of felt a little bit like work more than it felt like a freeing business, because it was just me working so much and just trying to close clients and make that money. And then I continued writing little stories here and there and took a break from my novel. And I stumbled upon audio drama, and I fell in love with that. It's not necessarily new, but it was my way of combining podcasting and writing and storytelling all in one, and just having fun with it, collaborating with really amazing people. And right now with the shutdown, it was one of the only things that we could produce. So that's how it started. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I've got to follow this. So that's my latest creative venture. I think there'll be more different things that I'll keep trying, but this was one of starting the audio drama and doing these storytime podcasts that I do was the start of just saying, I don't have to do things one way. Here I am thinking I have to be an author like everyone else to call myself a writer. and I have to be an entrepreneur and do everything like everybody else is doing with the funnels and the pages and everything, all the hype. But I said, no, I don't have to do everything. I just need to do what I love, and I can figure out how to make money because I can figure out how to sell. You can, as an entrepreneur, you always figure out how to sell anything, whether it's a product or a service. As long as you can articulate it well, you can sell it. But to me, I was just like, I had to make it at some point down the road. In the 3 years I've been doing this, I was starting to lose a little bit of who I was and the audio drama, and just saying, you know, I'm going to be creative and have fun with something. And that pulled me back into what I really love doing and why I started this whole venture in the first place. So I just gave you a whole circle around as to what I'm doing. But it's because it's okay to feel lost. You know, there are some times where you do feel lost, you don't know when you should jump, you don't know what decisions to make. And when you're doing everything on your own as a writer or as an entrepreneur or as an artist, you know, you don't know if your creative idea is going to take flight or not, and you don't know what's going to make money. I mean, we just don't know. If there was someone who always knew which creative projects would work, like they'd be a billionaire. Like there's no way to know what movies and what books are going to work out and what products are going to make it on the market. But you know, you just think, you just feel so trapped at times, and when it continues for so long, you kind of lose who you are a little bit. And I think trying that something new and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to develop this a little further and see where it goes. That was like the saving grace for me, to say, oh my God, I feel alive again. I finally created something different, new, unique, and fun. And I feel better. And it combined two things that I love, podcasting and writing. And who knew it was such a popular form of media? I didn't really know until I was really in it, and I started meeting people in the audio drama world, and I realized, wow, people really love this. It's its own flavor. And who says I can't be good at it just because I'm new? So, and it's great to hear people listen to it and people really like it. And even if they're just listening, no matter what episode they're picking it up at, they're listening to the story and getting into it, just kind of like you would in television or anything else. Instead of wondering if they read the whole novel, will they get past chapter 3? So that has been a new adventure for me. And it was a lesson in creativity, because you realize that there are no limits and you realize that, you know, you maybe don't have to invent the wheel, but you can reinvent yourself and this new project and finally not feel stuck. So that's been my journey in 2020, I think, and into 2021, because there were just moments where I think the world shook up and we all felt stuck. We felt anxious. We felt withdrawn. And it was hurtful for some of us. Some of us might have been uber productive, but that wasn't me. I've actually felt very anxious. I was like going through so much, and I felt withdrawn from all the stress with the virus and the pandemic and everything going on around us. And it was really hard to create for a while until I just finally sat down and did it. So
thank you, Christina, for sharing this with us, because you mentioned you mentioned something very important during the pandemic. Like, you are very open to share how you feel, because I'm not sure you are not the only one. You live in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I feel is that you started by discovering the skill that you have with copywriting. Then you were wondering how I'm going to monetize this. And then you discover the drama that it seems that in 2020 is when you say, like, this is it. And I see how you, when you have the conversation about drama, your eyes are like, now when you mentioned something about, you say you are focusing right now in that concept. How is that in, could you share more specific about like what you're doing now with that, with your podcast, for example?
Well, my podcast, I'm still interviewing the writers, self-published authors, fiction only, of course, because it's not like a bunch of self-help authors, but fictional authors that are interested in the craft. We'll continue to do the interviews for the rest of the year, but what the latest thing that we started back in May, or maybe it was April, but no, it was May, was I just started reading a short story that I wrote about the pandemic, just watching LA through my window. And I just read it on my podcast. I just did a story time episode, and sometimes I read my writing on the podcast. And then the second time I was like, okay, I can't do all these voices by myself. And if I want to make it more interesting, I can add sound effects and everything. Third time, the third episode, I called a director friend because I needed a male voice. And she was like, let me help you with this. And this was like the first time that we got the crew together, and then it just grew from there. We had director and an actor. Fourth episode, we have a director, 2 actors, and a composer, and then my daughter is doing the sound mixing. And it's been a good project for her as well. So how this all came about was when the pandemic happened, I put a vlog out there, and this is just another testimony to the power of vlogging, or even just putting your voice out there. I put a vlog out that said, hey, single motherhood prepared me for the pandemic. So coronavirus, hold my beer, because I've been at home with the kids. I've learned to ration food before. I've learned what it's like to live in confined spaces and, in tough neighborhoods, and having to go through something that could possibly be dangerous, and having like all of this emergency preparedness, like all of the things that people who were new to this kind of danger, I was like, well, I had already lived this. I feel prepared now. And someone saw it, and that someone was Chris Gregory of the Alternative Stories podcast, and he is the master of audio drama. And he said, we really need your positive voice for the pandemic. Would you do an episode with us? And I was like, of course, like, heck yeah. And it really showed me, like, the more you show up for people and the more you put your message out there, people call on you when they need you. Like in that time of panic, the fact that someone was saying, we want your positive voice and your smile. And I was like, oh, really? Yay. I didn't think people were watching, and I didn't think people thought of me that way. I just thought they were, we're funny, quirky and everything. But he said, no, we really want that positive voice. And so I sent him the audio track. I sent him the samples. He mixed it brilliantly. And I was part of it was 3 people talking about what to do in the pandemic for your creativity. And I didn't know what to, I remember the track was due and I had no idea what to say. And I wrote part of it out, and the rest of it, I just kind of ad-libbed on the mic a little bit to close it out and to let my voice, usually when you're reading something or when you're speaking on audio, there's a certain authenticity in your voice you really can't fake. And I just let it come out. And so he took the track, he made something of it, and we ended up talking about collaborating in the future, which we are in 2021, and I'm super excited. And his work is brilliant. The fact that he wants to work with me, I could get lots of other deals, but working with him and his masterful storytelling through audio was so exciting. And so finally, that's what encouraged me to say, you know what, I'm going to try this. And then when I talked to him and I realized how many people really like this genre, and especially now because people love podcasting, and it's hard for people in Hollywood to produce because there's so much restrictions. I mean, even now on set, you have to be tested every 3 days just to work on the set. And, it's hard to get the crew to social distance and actors and everything. It's difficult. So it's a huge advantage right now. And film festivals are taking audio drama submissions. That's new. That wasn't done a year ago. So I'm thinking, wow, this is the right time to do it. And this is the right time to build a skill. And it's great because when I was writing my novel, you go through editors. It's a long process. You can put it out yourself without too many edits or too many rounds, but it still needs to be a clean copy. You can't put something out that that has errors in it. Or the story has to, go through a pretty good developmental edit. Audio drama, you just work with the director and you just work with the team, and you're like, is this clear? Does the story make sense? Can the actor play the part? You know, are their voices different? It's a whole different type of production behind it. And you don't have that much time to unravel the story, which is more challenging because it's got to move faster. And that's been a whole different challenge. And then your characters have monologues, right? They don't do that in most books. They have an inner dialogue and they have a voice that you're following in the novel. But you can give, like, almost every character in my audio drama has a monologue. And I think like, wow, I have the listener's attention. I have to value it and really make the character say something strong. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be able to do that. And, you know, because screenwriting is a different ballgame. Screenwriting is a very difficult world. You can sell screenplays multiple times and never have one made because it's so difficult to get your stuff made unless you're literally making it yourself as an indie film with your own money. And even then, like, the fact that you'll even get that money back is slim to none, right? But audio drama, low cost to produce. It cost me maybe $1,500 to $2,000 to produce a 40-minute episode. So it's, compared to a movie, it's relatively low cost. And, you know, just the value that I get back, the fact that people love it, the fact that they tell me like, wow, I was so into it, or, you know, just the love that you're getting back, it's so worth it. And for me, I don't know if it's going to be my forever genre that I will stick to, but I've been looking for a way to make some of these stories work, because I couldn't get some of them to work in my novel. They're working on the audio drama. So the one we have now is The Last Magician. It's kind of like, it's a mischievous heroine going through a post-apocalyptic world of Los Angeles under siege. So it's a little bit like The Handmaid's Tale, but instead of this, they're more like soldiers, like Handmaid's Tale meets like Black Hawk Down, you know, like they're the people trying to save the world. But it's also, they're doing it through a phony guru, right? They know they can't win with guns and resistance fighters and everything. So they're trying to win over the influence and the power of the people by staging a phony guru. And then luring out someone who has the influence right now, the Last Magician. He is apparently the legend everybody seeks to save them. And so they're trying to lure him out by creating a phony guru. It's funny, it's dark, it's dystopian, it's crazy, but it's fun. And I had no idea that the story was going to take off. It wasn't one of my rigorously planned novels like the other ones that didn't work out so well. It was just me taking off and having fun with something, and it's growing. So I look forward to actually taking some of the novels that didn't work or that weren't unfinished and seeing how they could work in audio drama, or I'll keep them as novels. But the fact that it's opening up to more doors with me collaborating, I'm acting, which I haven't done acting in years, like since like a high school play, or doing simple voiceover work. I did voiceover work and I did some influencer spots where I had to say lines in front of a camera and things like that. And I did some commercials, but as far as acting in a long form story as a character, that's very new to me, or it's very challenging for me. And that's been a whole nother adventure as well. So it was so much more than just writing a story. It was the acting. It was trusting more artists, because you have to trust the director, you have to trust the actor, you have to see that all of it's going to come together. And it's leading the team, because there are times when the actors become little divas. I had one actor who was a little bit difficult, and I was like, oh man, this is just like running a business. You know, they ask for more money, they all those things. So you're prepared for anything. And yeah, I think entrepreneurship helped me build that and actually enjoy it, because if I had gone into it with no leadership experience or no business financial, you know, like saying, okay, is this worth it? Is it, you know, like, if I had gone into it with none of that, it probably would have failed and I would have given up. But since I had everything else under my belt and the podcasting, like I already knew about sound design and sound mixing, and I had Gregory from Alternative Stories helping me, or giving me advice. I follow him constantly and spy on him. And I always tell him that too. If I hadn't had all that, there's no way we could have made things work. And I'm so grateful for all of it. And sometimes you just don't know. You only see what you want to create, but you don't know how it's all going to piece together and come together. And you have to trust that about yourself, that you will hopefully meet the right people, and that, you know, you can kind of say, wait, that's not the vision I have. Let's get back over here. And you have to be able to talk to your team that way and say, like, this is what I really want for the story. This is what I want for the scene. Can we make this happen? Because they might see the scene differently, and you have to be able to work that out with each other. And my director is really great. She actually sees it pretty well, as what I want. And I trust her a lot with that too. So she made a lot of things easy as well. So I had no idea it would be this much fun, and just really give me another opportunity to just work with amazing people, and also take my podcast in a whole new direction. I imagine 2021 will start more audio drama, most likely in the second half, because it takes so long to produce, and we'll have a new story. And then in 2022, we'll probably just phase out everything and go into audio drama all the time. And that way we can do it in long seasons. We can have long form stories. And then who knows what's after that. So it'll be an exciting adventure, but I just realized, like, okay, now I know the direction that I want.
This is very interesting. I hope my husband listens this, because he will enjoy. And also, you are doing in English for now, right? Maybe in the future you will do like more language, no?
Well, my main character is a Latina character. Like, she actually goes to I'm gonna say this, I always say this word wrong, curaderna. She always goes to that's what she does in the story. And that, and that woman rejects her. And she talks about things, she talks about certain things, about like pouring the tea and like everything around her, the setting. She's in East LA, you know, like things that are kind of iconic to me, being a Los Angeles native, Mexican American. So audio drama does not have, shocker, like most other entertainment industries, does not have a lot of Latina or Latinx, Latino representation. I mean, very slim to none. So I would actually love to open that door as well. And pretty much almost all of my characters, or all of my books, have Latino characters. They just always will. I mean, I don't know any other way to to write through that perspective. I mean, your characters, your books always have to have multiple characters, or different diverse characters, for the sake of the story. But I just don't know how to write a hero from another point of view. Actually, no, I take that back. One of my male characters is a white male. He's kind of like an anti-hero though, but that's in another story. But you know, you want to, I do notice that there's very little representation in this. And it's actually, even when I was filling out the festival forms, like, I had to say that I was a Latino producer, and my director's not, she's from France, but you know, like, and I think I have one actor who's also Latino, but that's it. So I would actually really love to open the doors for this. And in Spanish, they have radio novelas, right? Like, that's very common as well. But I do want Latino characters represented well, and not just represented like East LA gangs, or, you know, farm workers, or, you know, I want a different,
Yeah,
I don't want families, you know, culture, and you know, just kind of what we see in our day-to-day lives. Romance, you know, you've got to put romance in there. So there would be a lot of that, but I do want to bring that flavor into this market. And you got to remember, like, audio drama is very popular in the UK. It's very popular in Europe. It's very popular, not necessarily in the United States as much as it should be. I think it will be now because podcasts are just keep growing. But like for the UK over there, and the story that we're working on, the alternative stories, he's in the UK, and he actually likes these Latino culture and
Stories, right?
cultural stories. Yeah, to him, he's like, "Oh, tell me more." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got stories for days. I'll tell you." So I actually like the fact that um, that's something that we can bring over across the pond or whatever, you know.
Yes. You know, now that you mention about stories, when I met my husband, he's a writer. He had a book. He already wrote a book, and the main character is Gabriela, and from Mexico. And I couldn't believe. I say maybe he's just inventing because he wants to conquer me or something like that. But it was real. It was real. So it was so amazing. And now that you mention all these stories about Latinas are very interesting. There is a lot of stories out there of many Latina moms, or it's just that will be interesting to share. And now that you are doing this, well, I think it's gonna be like very potential, not just for 2021, so on. And also this is very inspiring because there is a lot of moms that maybe they want to write a book, or maybe they have a story and they just put away the book. I know one of my friends that she was writing a story, fiction story. It's beautiful, but it's taking time for her to finish. What would you suggest to someone that is trying to write a novel or a book? What is your discipline that you have followed and works for you, and how you manage the part of being mom? Because you mentioned single mom prepared you for the pandemic. So that's amazing, because over there I hear so many people complaining and oh, because this, because of that, the pandemic. But while many people is crying, also many people is selling napkins. What would you say about that?
I love that saying, while many are crying, many are selling napkins. So first off, I wrote my first novel with SpongeBob SquarePants in the background while my kids were little. Like, I understand you have to learn how to work with the noise and the noise of craziness of motherhood. I know I did when I wrote the first novel, but that was so long ago. So my heart goes out to my kids are grown. My kids are 19 and 20. And my heart goes out to parents right now in the pandemic that have to teach your kids school on Zoom right now. I can't even imagine how hard that is. But I know as a single mom, it was always hard being the only one all the time with your kids, because I didn't have any family around helping me when they were little. So I didn't have anyone that could watch them. It was just constantly kids in my face. So I had to learn how to work with the noise. And I had, like I said, while they're watching cartoons, you always think like, oh, when the kids are asleep, I'll do it. Or when the kids are taking a nap, I'll do it. I just did it when they were watching TV or when they were doing other things. And I just learned how to do anything with noise around. You do want to it really is showing up. It's the hardest thing, and finding the time to show up and just letting the story go where it leads you. Like, you try to get these really rigorous word counts in every day, especially like NaNoWriMo and stuff like that. You're like, oh, 1,000 words a day. I'm going to show up and write for an hour a day. Be gentle on yourself, because you might only get 15 minutes because, I don't know, your kids break something or, or something happens. There's just days where things happen when you least expect them, and you're just like, really, we're really doing this right now. And you have to, as a parent, you just have to deal with it. So if you only get 15 minutes and you just write a few lines, celebrate that, because you showed up. You showed up and you did that much. My biggest regret was that I didn't push enough with my stories, and I would bring them to workshop, and they weren't dark enough, or the conflict wasn't there enough. So, and you constantly think like you sometimes judge yourself when you write, like, ooh, that's messed up. Ooh, that's really dark. Go there, be dark, be messed up. Go in for that conflict. Even though you're a mom and you're having all these deep thoughts, or even if you're writing a romance and you're having all these crazy, wild, erotic thoughts, follow them, channel them, because you need them to write your story. Don't let anyone judge you, or when they read it and there's a really dirty scene, oh my god, like no, it's the eyes of the character, follow it. Or if your husband reads it and he's like, oh, is this what you're thinking about? You're like, no, it's part of the story, just so what, he has six-pack abs and everything, just let me write my story. You have to be able to give yourself that space to do that and to really go into those deep, dark places. That is actually the hardest than just showing up every day and just putting in the words. It's really digging deep that's hardest, and you've got to give yourself space to do that. I know, and when I don't dig deep, my story sucks. It just sucks. The great lines of dialogue don't come out. The great action scenes don't come out. The great characters, the things that the characters need to say, like sometimes your characters will tell you the story through their actions, and you gotta give yourself space to let that happen. And also, you're not a bad mom if you tell the kids, hey, you have to wait 30 minutes until dinner's ready because I'm writing, and that 30 minutes turns into an hour. But it's super important for them to see you show up disciplined.
I feel that.
Yeah, because I noticed that because I was always writing and the kids are like, Mom, are you done writing yet? Mom, you said that an hour ago, because you're so lost in it. But later on, my kids practice their music, and they showed up every day to practice their music, or they show up and they know they have to work on their creative projects. And my daughter, if they see you disciplined, they will be disciplined too. And that is probably one of the best things you can do for your kids. And my daughter, who does the audio drama, she does the sound mixing. When I showed her the feedback that we were getting, how much people were loving it, and the fact that we're submitting to festivals, and I'm like, look, this is part of your portfolio, and you're only 21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, the fact that she saw the whole thing come together for work that she did is really amazing at such a young age. At least I think so.
Proud of you too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, because she's like, really, Mom, your character's ratchet. I'm like, oh, thank you, babe. Thanks, sweetie. She's brutally honest too, by the way. She's like, when I tell her I need to kill a character, she's like, kill that one. I don't like that one. Kill that one. It's so funny. But I think they need to see the creative process and how grueling and how painful, but also how wonderful it is when things come together. Like, and that there's deadlines, like her being involved. I was like, look, don't sit on this. You got to pace. When you have a big project, you have to pace yourself. You have to do little by little by little. You can't do it overnight. The fact that they're learning that in real time is really valuable for them too. But for those moms with little kids, just show up and show them what discipline is. And yeah, they're not going to starve to death. Let them wait 30 minutes for dinner. So.
Yes. The other day I felt my daughter draw something. Now she's start writing. She's 5, and she wrote something that say, "I want to play with you." Oh, I feel so like, oh, guilty. But yes, it's a challenge to manage running a business and also inspiring our kids. I'm pretty sure your kids are very, very, they have a great mentor. They have you. Now your daughter has a great portfolio, and I'm just happy because you are inspiring not just your kids, but also many women around the world.
Oh, thank you. My kids would not say I mentor them. They say, Mom, you're so mean, you make us cry. Because I'm always tough on them.
I think that they feel, but they haven't said that to you yet, but I'm pretty sure they are so proud of you.
No, I hope so, but I do want to help women out there, because I have so many regrets of not putting my work out there, not having a mentor, having really bad bosses. I don't want any women to feel like that when they work with me. I want them to feel like, I'm going to push you, but you're going to have something great. after this, or like you're going to get skills that you need to go kick ass somewhere else, you know, to go do something amazing somewhere else. You'll learn what you need to learn, and you'll toughen up the way you need to toughen up, or you'll find something in yourself creative that you can take somewhere. Like that's what I want for women that come and work with me.
That's true. And the right mindset as well, right? Mindset is like the core of everything in your personal life, in your professional life, and also with your business. Bring the right people also with the right mindset. And like if something happened to you or your business, you have the right mindset, you are up always.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like not just you having the right mindset, but you can't tolerate the wrong mindset with other people. You know, like you really need to make sure that, because even when I see people who are doubting, or like, oh, that's so expensive, you really want to do that, or oh, I don't know, it needs to be ready first. I'm like, no, we're doing it. Damn it. That's something I've learned over the past few years too, is just do it. And you've got to find people who, even if they're scared, that you know that they could step forward if they had to. Not people who just kind of disappear when it gets tough, because I've seen that happen as well. And you're like, come on, this is not going to work. And sometimes you need to be that leader who steps in the fire first. And you know, you have to kind of pull everybody through, and that's really difficult. I would say that's even harder than the creative process, is getting everyone on board and being the type of person people want to work with, but also being enough to make them want to push them harder. It's so difficult, and not everybody will thank you for it, not everybody will like you, but you have to know that you're doing the right thing for ultimately the right reason, not to make yourself look good, but to make everybody win. And it's so hard. I like, some days I just want to throw my phone at the wall and just say, forget everybody, but I can't. They're all relying on me. And we have to see everything through to the end, whether it's the end of like an 8-week program or it's the end of, you know, this series, right? Where this audio drama series, and the next one, like it's if it's my project, it's my job to make sure everybody makes it through to the end. And it's not always easy. In fact, it's exhausting. But when they do, and they have something to show for it, and everybody's proud of it, and they're like, wow, and they see the fan love, and they see the, you know, the feedback coming in, like, wow, I love this. Oh my God, what an emotional roller coaster. Oh my God, it's amazing. And when all that love comes back, you've brought that to other people. So you've brought that to them as well. So it's rewarding, it's tough, but it's worth it if the chips fall and everything works out. When it doesn't, it's a lesson. But
True. Christina, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. We have learned so much from you, and you have so much information helpful for many moms and very inspirational. So for everyone who listened, I want to thank all of you for watching the YouTube channel, for watching my podcast. And I'm very grateful for all this, because also I'm learning every day new things. And we are going to put the links for Christina, so you can follow her podcast as well, her website, and you can know more about what she's doing. Maybe you can listen the next episode of the novel that she's doing. And also, if you like the YouTube channel, you want to know more about the following guests, please click like my YouTube channel and download the podcast. We are here for you, and you can always reach out to us to all the links that appear here. Thank you so much, Christina. Any thoughts? Like anything that you want to add?
No, just thank you for having me, Gabriela. I'm so happy to see all that you're doing for female entrepreneurs and creatives out there, like, who need their brilliant ideas brought to life as well. So thank you for hosting me today, and keep creating, everyone. It'll be the best thing that you do.
Yes, thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next episode.